and today I'm going to discuss my idea or concept of a ranger. Now, a lot of people have different concepts. I'm not saying mine's the best. I'm not saying mine's the only way you should play a ranger. This is just my idea. This is just me getting some ideas out there for the community. Um, Feel free to add comments, put in some suggestions, and we'll just kind of build the community and help, get some new ideas. A lot of the fun with D&D, at least for me, is theory crafting. With that said, that doesn't mean I'm the greatest at it, but it is kind of fun to figure out your character and make plans and kind of design it, in my opinion. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I chose Outlander for the athletics proficiency and survival proficiency. It also kind of fits from a role play standpoint if you're into that, but mainly for athletics, so I can shove, and then survival's kind of bonus. There are a few skill checks in the game as you're going through as far as tracking and stuff. You'll see some footprints. That does come in handy. And as you can see, a lot of the picks that I did with this character was to try to maximize proficiencies, because I intend on playing solo once we get past the ship, and I will be filling a lot of roles. As far as race, lots of options for race. I mean, pick whatever you want. The reason I went with elf is two reasons. One, I wanted to get my dex to 17 because I am going to help the hag to take it to 18, and then at level 4 my ASI will be to get my dex to 20, so that'll give us a +5 to hit and a +5 to our damage. I also, dark vision's great for an elf. Another thing, when you're playing solo, half elf or elf, drow of course, those are about the best way to go in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about sleep. If you've ever played like a dwarf solo and you get put to sleep, and the next thing you know the entire group is beating on you and there's nothing you can do about it, it kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, maybe you're into that thing, get beat up while you sleep, but yeah, not good for survivability. Fleet-footed is also kind of great as far as the bonus. Extra movement speed, allow you to keep distance between you and your adversaries while you're fighting, and we are playing this ranger as a ranged player. +1 wisdom really isn't needed. As you can see from the score here, I got a 10 wisdom. Not going to really cast any spells that require DC checks. I think that covers everything as far as race, but again, pick what you want. That's just my reasoning behind it. If I wasn't going for the hag, I would just probably put my dex at 16, bump my strength to 16, went with half elf, so that I could do that. Oh, and if you're playing in a group, it's probably easier to manage distance, so you could also go high elf. As far as cantrips, I would probably take friends for those skill checks to get advantage in conversations, or minor illusion, so that I could, maybe distract somebody while I pick their pocket. Just some options out there, thoughts. Maybe give some suggestions for race and why in the comments below. And let's continue on. Appearance, pick your favorite. As far as the ranger and favored enemy, his favorite enemies kind of sucks, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. Ranger Knight, to my knowledge, could have changed as of patch 7. There's not a whole lot of good heavy armor in the game, so unless you really want the history proficiency, not really worth taking as of right now. Full release, maybe a different story. But I chose Keeper of the Veil because I wanted an arcane proficiency, and between the two that give arcane proficiency, I thought I may use protection from good and evil at least once. I know of it at least once where I'll use it. But outside of that, it's just kind of pick whatever proficiency you want. Now, as far as creatures you restrain have a harder time escaping, I do not know if this is intended to work with ensnaring strike. If somebody's tried this and can, give us some answers on whether or not it does, say something in the comments, please. I also, because grapple's also another aspect of D&D 5e, so I'm not sure if that's what its intentions is for. As far as natural explorer, most people go with Wasteland Wanderer Fire just for the resistance to fire. I was tempted, but I would have had to have gone Charlatan for sleight of hand. So I took Urban Tracker instead, which gave me the ability to go Outlander for athletics and survival. Just my reasoning behind it. But if you want an option, Charlatan's a pretty good one to pick up sleight of hand, and then you pick up deception as well. But when you get to skills, you'll be having to choose between missing out on 2 proficiencies versus only missing out on 1. And I'm going to pick up, as far as skills goes, I'm going to pick up or keep animal handling. Investigation, sure, why not? Nature, really doesn't matter. Pick your favorites. I like animal handling just so I can get the spiders a little easier. Pet the dog a little bit. Who doesn't like to pet a dog? All you cat lovers out there. I think I just lost my daughter as a follower. Alright. And then stats. Again, dexterity is going to be a 17. And like I said, we're going to help the hag. And I'm going to take the ASI for +2 dex to end up at 20 dex. If they get sharpshooter in, combat or crossbow expertise in the game, maybe something I consider. But as of right now, we don't have that. So this is what we're working with. Warcaster would be a nice one for him to add for caster classes, especially if you're trying to do a melee caster build. It'd definitely be an awesome add. If anybody's got any poll that sees this video, see if you can get it done. As far as strength, I went with a 14. I want to be able to throw goblins. Obviously, we can drink a strength potion, but it is a resource that we're burning to do that. So having a +2, it helps with shove, it helps with jumping to different areas, it helps with throwing, it helps with throwing, jumping, shove, all that, and that's all stuff that I'm going to use to my advantage. Constitution, nothing big there except for hit points. We need it. Intellect, this is my dump stat. There is a headband that will get your intellect to 17, so I'm really not worried about it. If I need intellect for something, I'll just pop on the headband. As far as wisdom, I would have liked to have kept this at about a 12 to get a +1. Kind of help out with perception, just so I can notice things more often. As far as charisma, again, just left it at 10. I just didn't want any disadvantage on these 2 stats. And putting these stats, anything above a 14 is kind of a waste. So like I said, I'm using the hag to get that to an 18, and my level 4 ASI is going into dex, so I wouldn't be able to raise these if I had them at 15 in any way, shape, or form to get an extra +1 to the skills attached to these, or proficiencies, I guess. And that's kind of my reasoning behind it. If you got any ideas, maybe on how to improve, different strategy, but that's where I'm at. Some things to think about though, when you're playing that I've noticed, you can dual wield hand crossbows, and if you take the two weapon fighting style, you do get the plus dexterity modifier to your offhand. I won't be going that route because I have found that when you play solo or you're playing maybe with only one companion or whatever, just to kind of increase the difficulty of the game, your bonus action is being used up for heals, so you can get, you know, like the plus from the ring or whatever. You're definitely bonus actions being spoken for a lot of times. Well, that's my build. Sorry I rambled a little bit. Leave a comment what you think, maybe where you go. Let's get some ideas going, and I will see you in the next one.